For a while, I thought she was just staying at a friend's house, and I thought eventually she would have enough of them and show up and turn her phone back on and come home and everything would be fine. She'd be grounded. We wouldn't see each other, but at school for a while.
There were still rumors of, well, she's just a runaway. I knew from the get-go that it wasn't just a simple runaway situation because that line of communication had stopped and she would not have chose to put her parents through that. She loved them too much and she did respect them too much to do that.
When Jeray first went missing, we felt like we were on our own trying to find her, except for we had family and friends that helped us. But we knew we needed more than that. I called the Center for Missing and Exploited Children and put her on there. And then we contacted the television stations. Anything we could get out there, we was gonna do.
We hung up flyers and then weeks turned into months, and every month on the 15th, we had a candle vigil.
The town of Weatherford really came together. There would be hundreds of people and just candles everywhere.
We released balloons with her flyer hooked to them, thinking if one landed somewhere, it might bring her home. A friend of ours had owned a printing company that made T-shirts and would just give them to people with her picture on them. We had a lot of support from a lot of strangers too. People that hung flyers in different towns, people I've never met to this day.
The hope never goes away. Last thing you ever want to think is they're not coming home. I can't tell you how many times I pulled off, went through an old barn, went through an old cellar, went through an old house. We had psychics tell us that she was in a railroad car. I can't tell you how many railroad cars I went through. If you're a parent that cares, you don't ever give up.
There was a rumor that she was out in some bat caves, I think east of town. It was always a different rumor of where she was and what had happened to her, pretty much at least every other week.
We got a phone call that said she was in a motel in Weatherford. The cops had the whole motel rounded up. It was dead lead. There was nothing there. There was nobody there.
There was a lot of leads in this case, and most of them led nowhere. We followed up on just about every lead that came in that we could, and they were dead ends. Some of them looked real promising. We would follow those, and there would just be another rabbit trail, and we wouldn't lead anywhere.
After several months had went by and there was no turnout, we all started to lose hope.
As the months drawn on, there were a lot of friends that kind of dropped off and, moved on. And not that they were wrong for moving on, but candle vigils kind of got smaller and people, checking in on her parents, they weren't getting as many people asking for updates, asking if there was anything that they can do. I never lost hope. I knew that we would find her one way or another because we were all too stubborn. We weren't gonna stop. I can't think of a certain year or a certain date that we would have lost hope. I personally don't think I would have ever lost hope because I was so involved in trying to find her. You can't look for somebody and not have any hope and win. You have to have that hope. That's what pushes you.
You just do what you have to do to survive, and you do everything you can to find your child. That's what I did, and I was never giving up.
the shock was just that it was shock. I mean, we had searched for 14 months. We had, done everything in our power to make sure that we could bring her home safe.
For 14 months looking for her. Jeray was missing for 14 months. I never found comfort. I just focused on finding her, and I dedicated my whole being for that. There was no time for myself. It was all about her and getting her home. That's all I cared about. I always hoped she would come home, safe and sound, but she came home, just not the way I wanted her to.
Over the 14 months, there are so many different things that happened. There are so many scenarios of ways that it could have went that it didn't. Most people within the first 48 hours give up on their kids. They figure they just ran off. At least I know I tried.
Mm-hmm.